So hi, welcome to Good Noise Podcast with Pat from Not My Weekend. We're asking some questions today about their new album, Honeymoon. I'm going to start. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to it so far? And what does the album name mean?
Thank you. I'm super stoked on it. I feel great. I really like that Spotify adds up all of our streams from our singles, so it's like it's got this big number associated with it. I'm like, yeah, half
Yeah.
a million streams in 2 days or whatever.
Exactly. Easy.
Easy money. No, I'm really excited. I can't even believe it's out because it was done like over a year ago. It just COVID and 2020 makes everything feel like a blur. So that all the songs are out and I'm even talking about it feels weird. But I said this on another podcast the other day. I'm just so excited to like promote it for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
You know, like now that a record's out, I'm just gonna keep promoting it forever.
As you should.
I'm going to. I'm stoked. Yeah, Honeymoon, the title. I explained this in a TikTok just a couple days ago. But I wrote the song Honeymoon just based off something my girlfriend had said to me when we first started dating. And then myself, Noah, and Nick wrote the song Honeymoon with Jaden Seeley. And that song just felt so good. And then we just kind of picked and wrote songs for the rest of the record. And I mean, all of our songs are like romantic in nature anyway, but the record kind of felt like a celebration of young love and also being in this band, but it also felt like really chaotic and it just felt like a chaotic honeymoon. So we had a title track on the EP, our EP Yellow. And I never really imagined us being like a band that has a title track band, but like this was just the second one that makes sense or that made sense. And now we've got our EP Yellow with the title track, and now we've got our full length Honeymoon with the title track. And I really like how consistent our artwork is too.
Mhm.
I like the like yellow and black with the centered sunflower, and now I like the new purple and yellow with the centered moon, and that makes me want to like continue that, and on whatever our next thing is, have like a centered like emoji type image with another title track. So it's nice to have like a little bit of consistency throughout our band.
Definitely.
So before we get into the album, like as deep as we go around here, I want to ask, like at that opening track at the very end, you've got like the "Hi, I'm Patrick Gilchrist" kind of thing. What was the idea behind that? Because I haven't seen anybody do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was an idea. I think I was just on the last take of the song and I just said that, and our producer Neil just let the tape run.
Okay.
I was just having a good time. I think that was, yeah, I was doing like vocal runs for the last chorus. Like it goes, Hollywood Hills, like the extra ones or whatever.
Mhm.
And I just got to the end and I just started riffing just because I was in a good mood and I just said that. And Neil got really stoked on it. And we did like 3 or 4 more versions of that little ending thing. But I know for a fact that the one you hear on the record is just the first one I did. He just kept the first one.
Okay.
So I don't even know. I was just in a good headspace, just started going.
Well, I like it a lot. It's a nice touch and a nice way to open the record. So
Thank you. My street team's mad about it because it's incorrect. Because there's 11 songs after the first one.
yeah, that pisses me off a little bit. I'm like, we couldn't fix that, but we'll roll with it.
I could have like ADR'd, or we could have put in like 11. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was basically just at the time we didn't think we were going to put "Ooh" on the record, and there it is.
Oh man, that
Shane
song.
has, yeah.
I was like, God, I fucking hate that song. Like, I hate
Yeah.
that I like it as much as I do.
So good. I love it.
That's why it's 10, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for this album?
I think a lot of the songs were written before we went in to track it. Like I said, there's 2 co-writes on the record with Jaden and with Jaden Seeley on our songs Honeymoon and Sip. And that was a new experience for us because we'd never really co-written with anyone before. And I can't stress, he made like most of the instrumental on those songs. Like all the piano and the chord progressions, all him. And all of the synth on both those songs is all him. And anything that was contributed, like the acoustic guitar on Honeymoon is Nick, and the drums on Honeymoon and Sip are both Noah. But like the structure of the whole thing, that's all Jaden. So it was really nice to like have a co-write that was that collaborative.
Mhm.
And I've carried a lot of that experience with me into other co-writes and like other songs I've helped write for people and written for the band since. And just other co-writes I've done since I've moved to LA. So that was really, really nice. And there was a little bit of co-writing done on the rest of the record, just between our producer Neil and us, but mostly just like hashing little parts out.
Okay.
I think that El Camino and Come Over and I think El Camino and Come Over were the only two songs written like while we were in studio or whatever.
Okay.
And then Hollywood Hills is a mashup of two different songs I had. I had the chorus of Hollywood Hills in some other demo, and I had the verse for us. The verses of Hollywood Hills used to be a song called Fortune Teller, and it had a totally different chorus. And Neil was just like, "Oh, these are in the same key. Let's put them together." And then I had the bridge of that song is a riff that I had just been playing over and over again for months, and I couldn't find like anywhere that it fit in a song. And then we just threw it in the middle of that and put those cool gang vocals on it. So I guess that was kind of made in the studio too, but that's just like a Frankenstein of a bunch of different songs.
Okay.
And then, I don't know. Everything else was demoed in my garage in Laramie, Wyoming, sometime at the end of 2018, at the beginning of 2019. And that was just, we were touring at the beginning of, or throughout 2019. So I knew that as soon as we were done touring, we would go make the record in the fall. So before and in and around our tours, I was writing like, I think I had like 30 or 40 songs or something like that, because I knew we were going to go do it. So Go Get Out, You and Me, Say Your Mind. Say Your Mind was written on Christmas Day, 2018. Like everything else on the record is just like a demo that's existed on my computer, and we just hashed everything out.
All right.
Wow.
But fun fact, Come Over is just the chords from Jamie All Over by Mayday Parade. And then we just took those chords and just changed the beat, and I wrote a bunch of lyrics about boys like girls or whatever, and that was it.
Okay.
Wow.
So, I like that.
Yeah, every writing process is just, every song's different,
Okay.
Right.
Wait, well, any of those, you said you wrote like 40 odd songs. Will any of those like see the light of day? Or will you work on any of them?
You guys have heard Trash TV.
Yeah.
And my street team is desperate for me to make a studio version of that song.
Please.
I don't think it's that cool, but they keep begging me to, so I probably will at some point. Sabrina was one of them, and Sabrina's like a song I posted on my YouTube channel.
I think that was on that set too that you did.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, because you just took like a bunch of random fucking songs.
Yeah, I was having fun. I think there's a couple songs in there. If any of those other demos come out, I'll probably just like throw them up on my YouTube or something. But trust me when I say the 12 best songs of the batch are the record. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
And in that first interview that we did, you had said like there was a scrapped LP one, correct? Didn't you like shop an album around, and then they were like, we don't want this from you. We want to hear something different. Or am I tripping?
No, you're not tripping. I think I was probably talking about Honeymoon, honestly.
Because I was going to ask if we were going to hear, if we had heard any of the songs off of that.
I remember that first time we ever talked. That was right in the middle of pandemic, and I was having a full-on anxiety attack, and we had not moved to LA yet, and tour was canceled. I was in a bad headspace, honestly. I think I was probably talking about Honeymoon, and no, there's still all. Yeah. We haven't really done any. We were doing shopping when I was talking to you then, but we're just like, we're fully on We Are Triumphant, and we've gotten so close with those guys since I moved out here. There's none of that going on, and if we're ever like working with someone else, it's going to be like a mutual like decision between our whole team, including We Are Triumphant.
Okay.
And yeah, everything that's recorded and ready to come out is Honeymoon.
Okay.
And I'm sure I was referring to that when I was talking to you. There are like 5, maybe now 6 songs that are crazy dope demos with crazy features from like some of my favorite bands in the world that are on my phone right now.
Okay.
That I was working on during our first interview that are now done and like in the mixing and mastering stage.
Okay.
And those will all hopefully come out like at the end of this year or maybe 2022. I don't know.
2020.
But
okay.
That's a whole new album. It's a whole new project.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or it's like some crazy single in the middle of the summer. I don't know what it's going to be, but like there are already Not My Weekend songs that sound totally different with brand new faces attached to them. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bands that you've seen us interact with on Twitter. It's not hard to guess, but
I was gonna ask about that actually. If there was gonna be okay, cool.
There's no features. There's no features on this record other than Jaden's co-writes, and he's not singing on the record. But honestly, he might be some of those harmonies, and he just lied to me that I did them. I listened to Honeymoon, and I'm like, that sounds like Jaden, but he tells me it's me. I don't know. That
might be it. So where was your headspace at while you were writing this album then?
Oh, dude, stressed.
It sounds like you're living in constant stress though. Like your life seems like just one big stress bubble.
Oh no, I mean I'm stoked. Like I love my stress. I'm only stressed about living my dreams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I think it wasn't that bad. It's just honestly, our producer Neil was going through a rough time. And we kind of like made this record through him having a rough time. Which was an interesting experience, you know, to like, because he's like one of our best friends in the world at this point now too. You know, we've worked with him for 3 years and we got really close. So it was interesting to like make a record while like quote unquote helping him through something. And you know, that's his personal business, so I don't really go into it too much. But that was part of it. And we were also living in Portland. And I like the people in Portland and I like the shows in Portland, but I don't like the rain. And there was a lot of rain. And I was working a job for Neil and for our friend Josh Oliveri, who was also living in the house and helping with the record a little bit. And we were all working for this company managing marathons. Like I was helping time marathons, and that took up like all of our weekends. And we were in Portland for like 4 months, and I wasn't able to really make friends in that time because we were just working that job or working on the record. And don't get me wrong, I'm super grateful for the experience, but it was like a lot, and it was just like a long haul. Oh, and my grandma passed away in the middle of it, so I left and came back for 2 weeks, and then Michaela had a family emergency, and I left and came back for 2 weeks. Like, truthfully, it was just the EP Yellow took 16 days, and
Jesus.
And because it like went great and there were no holdups and we were just stoked the whole time. Yeah. And then this record just like, oh my God, like it took like 4 months just because we just kept getting hit with more things in the way of us doing it. So it's just it's weird looking back on it. And then the whole thing was mixed and mastered and then there was a pandemic. So it's like, it honestly feels like such a blur, like finishing this album. But I mean, I also know that we had a really great time. Like doing drums is always awesome because I love being in the drum room. And Noah's so good. And I like watching him bring the songs to life. And, you know, we had a trumpet player and a saxophone player on this record that we got to spend 2 days with that really helped flesh out El Camino and You and Me, which is like crazy that there's like, you know, horns on our record, like real ones. And I loved writing the songs a couple years ago, and I really loved working with Jaden, and El Camino was like a godsend. That song like really came to us like in a gosh darn dream one night. And that's, So it was really, really nice, but like truthfully, you know, really stressful and hard too. And any band that tells you differently is, probably lying to themselves. You know, making records is weird. I much prefer being on tour.
Valid.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. So is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have while going through this album?
Oh yeah, I just want everyone to get hype. I just want everyone to be stoked and happy. And you know, we tried to write like a really sad like acoustic ballad for this record, and there's 4 or 5 attempts in the demos, and they just didn't work. Like, and it's just because like I'm like in a good place in my life. You know, I don't have a big breakup going on. I don't have, you know, I'm by no means am I complaining, but we just couldn't make a sad acoustic ballad work. So it's just bangers and happy songs on top of happy songs. And that's the majority of what I want to make anyway, just because those are the songs I like the most. You know, I love a good emo tune, but there's not a ton of really truly sad songs that I vibe with that much these days, at least. And yeah, and if it wasn't a pandemic, I'd be telling everyone to like go out and listen to it. Like I'd be saying, get in a car with all your friends and go somewhere and listen to it. I'm not really about the whole. There's a lot of bands that do the whole like listen to it with the lights off, laying down from front to back.
Austenite,
Austenite energy.
Exactly. Or Tyler the Creator said that stuff back in the day too.
Oh, man.
Or he'd say the opposite. He'd say like go outside or something. I would just listen to whatever you want. Just listen, just put it on shuffle if you want.
Just listen to it.
Just please listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a celebration of like, of being in a band and the culture and having crushes on girls and boys and stuff. So just go off,
Yeah. I actually like that you brought up that you tried to write like a sad ballad, but you literally couldn't. So thank you for like not forcing it.
Absolutely. On Jaden's recommendation too, Jaden Seeley, like one of the last pieces of advice he gave us before he left is like, you should have like an acoustic ballad on this record. And we were like, that's probably true. We'll give it our good, honest try. And we really did. And there's versions of it, but it's none of them are that cool.
Yeah.
There's a new demo currently titled Breakup Song. That is totally that sad vibe. So I'm not saying if it works, I won't release it, but even that song like bangs, like it goes in. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe my Remembering Sunday is somewhere around the corner.
Oh, please.
So this question should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less.
Nope.
I gave you so many more last time.
Yep.
You did.
Chaotic.
Okay.
Cheesy. Goop. It's chaotic, cheesy goop.
Oh.
Okay.
I like that.
Just dive on in head first. Just swan dive.
Swan dive into the goop.
Into the goop.
You got it.
Goop.
You got it. That's it.
Okay. That's
interesting.
Interesting. Definitely.
Our booking agent Chris McIntosh wrote a really good review of it on his blog today that I just retweeted that I think sums up the whole record perfectly. So if you're following us on Twitter, go check that out. Chris is also the best. I love him so much, and I can't wait to book a tour with him. So yeah.
Okay.
In due time.
In due time.
Yeah. So while going through the album, what band or artist influence stick out the most to you, if any?
So I've been incredibly outspoken about how much I love the Jonas Brothers, but this is the first time. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. But this is the first time I really convinced our producer Neil how cool the Jonas Brothers were. Like I was always writing like them, right? Mm-hmm. But this record, like I really like showed Neil the whole Jonas Brothers discography, and he was like, "Oh, we can make it sound like this." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I've been saying." So I think the mixing, especially like the snare, sounds a lot like something Jonas would do, which is a dream come true. And then I think I don't know. My buddy Jared, who I've been collaborating with a ton, like so much, and have so many co-writes with him that are not on this record but are to come. He goes under the artist name Veins on Hopeless. I've probably mentioned it before, but he describes Not My Weekend and kind of all of my projects as like a deconstruction of the form. And we've had a couple reviews like mention similar things before. And I didn't even realize I was doing that, but I think he's right. I think Not My Weekend and especially this record are like a real deconstruction of pop punk and the tropes of like the larger alternative band scene in such a way where I'm like making fun of everything that is pop punk, but I'm also like being honest and I'm on your side. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you mentioned, like the little thing at the end of Hollywood Hills where I'm like, oh, it's Patrick Gilchrist, I'm gonna be your tour guide. Like that's a really silly thing that just takes you right out of the record, but I throw you right back in, you know? Or like Ooh, which is 100% making fun of like Attack and the Millionaires and all and like Swedish House and all this dumb music that I love with my whole heart and soul. But it's also, you know, if you ask me, like a pretty good version of those things as well, you know? So I think it's just like it's like a deconstruction of pop punk. Like the boys like girls references is in there for that exact reason. You know, it's like, it's like that's one of the kings of what pop punk like was and is, but is not as relevant right now. But it's still like in the conversation all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's in the conversation on this record while I'm like taking it apart and examining it and putting it back together. Does that make any sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think our influences are just like the genre and the scene, at least stylistically, like as a whole. And then otherwise, it's just like Honeymoon, You and Me, and Privacy are all about my girlfriend. So that like just about Michaela. And then El Camino is about the Cheer and the Breaking Bad movie. And Hollywood Hills is just like it's about like this idea of a girl that will never be into me. And Come Over is the first song I've ever written about like someone you're in like a hookup relationship with, which I've had very few of in my life, but they all went exactly like that. So yeah, I don't know, just lots of stuff, man.
All right, all over the map.
All over the map.
So what is your favorite song off the record, and which one took the longest to write?
Oh, mine's El Camino for sure.
And it should be.
Yeah, and it's El Camino, and it took the least amount of time to write. El Camino was done in like 4 hours, and not a thing changed about it.
El Camino acoustic. Wow.
So good.
Oh, thank you.
Same with Sip.
That's the first time we'd ever done it.
Good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a tale as old as time. That was the last song written for the record, and I feel like every band's like, it's the last song written for the record, and it's our favorite. But yeah, it like literally like the day before we decided the final track order, I wrote that, and Nick and Michaela and I actually, the three of us, put it together and showed Neil, and he was like, "Yep, this will be the one. We'll do this one then, and that'll be the record." And that's the last thing we did, and then we tracked everything. So mine's definitely El Camino. The one that took the longest. I think Say Your Mind was written the longest ago. It was written Christmas 2018, but not that much changed about it. So it kind of depends on how you describe it. I think that Come Over like probably had the most time spent figuring it out. Like that post chorus took us a while, and the verses were cool, but the lyrics took me a while. Like that, we really like it. We spent a couple days trying to crack that song. As opposed to the others, which were maybe written a while ago, but they probably took like a day. Normally, if a song is taking more than a day, it's probably not very good.
Yeah.
In my experience, Come Over it just took a second to crack it, but it's a great song. So yeah.
Okay, solid. So you've been talking about these things that you're possibly releasing late 2021 or early 2022.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about it? I know you just released this album.
I know, right?
But is there anything like, what direction are you taking Not My Weekend? Because you're saying it sounds different.
I mean, like I would hope that every new Not My Weekend thing sounds different, right? Like I want to be a band where like not even album to album sounds different, but song to song sounds different.
Yeah.
Like if you start it When You're Around and go all the way to the end of Honeymoon, just like every song is so different, you know? So when I say that, it's not like in my brain, it's not any more different than the current stuff, but I don't know. There's a little bit of MGK influence because I've been listening to that record a lot.
Banger.
Okay, that's fair.
And on one song specifically, there's a lot of co-writes with my buddy Jared from Veins. There's a couple co-writes from a super famous guy who I can't say right now. I don't know. I want to stress it doesn't sound like the 1975.
Thank God.
Okay, good. Good.
Because I make fun of those dudes all the time. There's a lot of band Camino influence. But that's because I love the band Camino, you know, because there's a lot of bands that are ripping the band Camino too, but holy God, they're so good. It's really big. Like, I think they're probably more like rock and roll than we've ever been before.
Okay.
And some of the lyrics are a little more like serious-ish, but then all of a sudden there's like it goes right back to like the dancing on the sun with a Gucci bag lyrics or whatever, you know? So it's a new mix of things. There's a lot more falsetto. I mean, there's tons of falsetto in Crawl, but there's like a whole another falsetto chorus coming up here soon.
Okay.
I don't know. It's hard to describe. I'm stoked on all of it. I don't even have final mix and masters for literally anything yet. I'm mostly excited about the influences from the other people on the record. So it's like everything about the stuff that my friends and I and Not My Weekend have already put forward, and all of like my personality that's already been deeply injected into Not My Weekend, with like a bunch of personality from this guy who I like a whole awful lot, who I can't pull off on my own, and this guy who I like a whole awful lot, who I can't pull off my own, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's going to sound just a lot like Not My Weekend with a lot more collaboration, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Very
That's
exciting.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can convince We Are Triumphant to just start letting us put out singles instead of like worrying about an album, maybe like later in the year. But who knows? Again, like the songs aren't done. So yeah.
Yeah.
So for the last couple of questions, we're going to shift away from music, and I don't have a segue for this because I've never asked these questions before.
I always
Love it.
So if you could be an animal for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
That's tricky. Do I have the lifespan of the rest of that animal's life?
No, you'd live as long as you
So I have my own lifespan, but I'm an animal.
Yeah.
Dolphin, maybe.
Okay.
I've always been allergic to fish, so it'd be nice to see what it's like on the other side. Plus, they're like the second smartest animal or whatever, right? So I'd still be a little cognizant. I love my dog Django. Lives a pretty dope life. If I could absorb his existence, that would be pretty sick because I know how spoiled he is.
We love Django here.
If we're just getting crazy, like being a Bronchiosaurus would be dope. Like
That'd be
being a
pretty
long
cool.
neck dinosaur would be like especially if I was like the only one. But then I could probably test it and research on it and stuff. But I'd be super well taken care of because I would be an incredibly endangered species. I'm gonna go with a peaceful dinosaur.
Okay.
You went from dolphin to dinosaur, and
I'm gonna go
Switched up really
Bronchiosaurus. I want to be huge.
Okay.
Okay, solid.
Larger than life.
Okay. So I want you to walk with me for a second.
Okay.
So, boom, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're on a desert island. You can only bring one book, one person, and one movie.
Okay.
What would you bring?
I haven't read a book since like 2006. So, no, that's not true. Okay, one person would definitely be Michaela.
Okay.
It'd be my girlfriend because she would figure everything out, and I could just like make like a hammock.
Aww.
You could just relax while she does everything.
She would find shelter. She would start a signal fire. I would make a hammock.
Easy. Balance.
Or I'd just like count sand, figure out if the water was nice, whatever. One book. Probably like some sort of surviving in the wild book.
Okay.
I'd like go to Urban Outfitters and pick so you're stranded on a desert island book. I'd get that.
Yeah.
And one movie. I have a device to play it on, right? I just don't have like a useless Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't just have the disc in your hand, like.
Avengers Endgame, no contest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So true.
I've watched that movie so many times, and it's like one of my favorite things that's ever happened in life. So
Banger.
Yeah.
So if you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Just of any song that's ever been made?
Yes.
Any song that's ever been made.
Oh, I don't know. That's tricky. A song I never really get sick of is The Beach by All Time Low. That comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
I literally never get sick of that song. I love it so much. Dang, dude. That or Year 3000 by the Jonas Brothers, maybe.
Banger.
A song for the rest of my life. Stand By Me comes to mind for some reason. Those three, I love all three of those songs so much. So one of those, but if I'm being real with myself, probably Year 3000.
Okay.
All right. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Nice. Yeah. Please just, if you're listening, thank you so much for paying attention. Subscribe to the Good Noise podcast and stream Honeymoon by Not My Weekend, and tell all of your friends. Tell all of your friends, like in your friend group, in your neighboring area, to listen to the record, and then tell us to come tour there. And then we'll come play a show for what is probably just going to be you and all your friends. Just please, please do that. Just create a group of friends around Not My Weekend where you live, and then we'll be there in July. All right. We'll celebrate Independence Day. And we'll play we'll play a 30-minute set, but then Nick Hudson and I will play all the songs you didn't want to hear acoustic after the set. That's my promise to you if you tell all your friends. So that's my plug.
And then Gloria and I will both each go to our own show and force you into an interview.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely.
You'll get 2 interviews.
Oh, we should do all these in person. It'd be so much better.
That would be so much better. So thank you for sitting down with us. Always fun chatting with you. This has been Pat from Not My Weekend, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.
Thanks, guys.